Llamas! Llamas! Llama-lambs! Hello! Come on then, let me in. Let me in. Hello! Where's the llamas? Come on. Come on, you two. Oh, yeah. I know. Okay, everyone here. Llamas. Come on then. Okay? As of this moment in time, this very second, nobody has died, nobody has given birth, and no one has escaped. That's good. The variations on a bad day are endless. I know, I've panicked my way through any number of them. Charging, well, it's flapping through the forecourt of the local petrol station in close pursuit of a small band of hideously evil 6-week-old piglets in a vain hope of cutting them off before they reach the post office, which, for some god-known reason, always seems to be their goal. Hooligans. All piglets are hooligans, as are lambs. They are. They may look cute and squidgy, but as soon as they're out of sight of mum, it's fags and booze all the way. The trick is not to let them get too far from mum in the first place. Not always easy when it's mum who's tossing them over the electric fence and egging them on to go walkabout. All the sows do it. Even Kylie, the matriarch. They seem to reach a point and think, I've had enough now. They were quite nice when they were little, but I think I want a little me time for a while. And then they send their babies off on day trips. Today, everything is fine. Everyone where they should be. All 57 pigs, 18 sheep, 46 chickens, 2 ducks, 1 turkey, 2 geese, the terrorists of the chicken field, and 2 wild cats, Nico and Morris, a Great Dane called Darcy, Dex, the one-eyed sheepdog, 2 horses, 4 goslings, and 2 hand-milking goats. All where they should be. But it wasn't always like this. "10 years earlier. I want to give up work and move down here to Exmoor," Debbie shouted into the din. Ow! Yes, I nodded. I had absolutely no idea what she just said, but didn't want to spend the entire New Year's Eve party yelling back at her, pardon, what and sorry. So I'd been watching her eyes and judging whether I should be answering yes or no to what she was saying. I seemed to be doing rather well. "Are you sure? I was worried you might not like it down here. It's so different from London." She yelled. "London, I could lip read that. At last, safe territory." "Oh yes," I said with some enthusiasm, chugging the last of my beer. We were in an Exmoor pub, packed shoulder to shoulder with slightly grubby outdoor types and farmers who dressed up for the occasion by changing the strand of coloured string holding up their trousers. These were men of action, and I imagined if the call went up, "My cows are loose," they'd be only too delighted to form a scrum at the door in their eagerness to get out and do some rounding up. Thank you. Except for the ones who had changed their string back first. It would be a shame to dirty a new bit of twine. There was a jazz band playing loudly in the corner, with a singer who looked so old I wondered if the rest of the band had borrowed her from a local nursing home, just to make up the numbers. "I'm serious," Debbie said. "I'm burnt out at work." Go away. "I'm burnt out at work. I want out of London. I didn't mean for all this to come out tonight. I'm so sorry, but I've had it with the whole work until you drop thing. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I really need out. I've been so scared of telling you, but we'll only do it if you're certain. Absolutely certain. Absolutely certain. Are you certain?" Some of the farmers around us were waltzing, some jiving, some doing the twist. They were happy. I was nearly at the end of my Exmoor rain beer and tilted the glass, smiling. It was pointless trying to speak. I still couldn't hear a word of what she was saying, but hoped it was something about the need for another drink. "Of course," I said. Her chin dropped, and she mouthed the word, "Really?" It was a New Year's Eve party. My glass was empty, and I wanted another. I nodded enthusiastically, mouthing back, "Yes, really." Delighted, she seemed so pleased at my intention to drink the bar dry. She got up and flung her arms around my neck, kissing me wildly and shouting, "I love you, I love you, I love you," into my ear. Then she picked up my glass and rushed for the bar, darting between the dancers. The band was still playing, though not necessarily all the same tune, and I was happy to see the singer still on her feet. I'm sure at one point I heard her shout into the microphone, "Do you know how old I am?" I settled back into my seat, Debbie at the bar collecting our drinks, content I was the relationship god. The next day started badly. You know, if you break a mirror, it's said to be 7 years bad luck. Or if you cry on your birthday, you're said to cry for a whole 12 months, until it's your birthday again. Or if it rains on St Swithin's Day, it'll rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Well, there isn't an equivalent for New Year. If you ask me, there should be. Something like, if you agreed to change everything about your life on New Year's Eve, your New Year's Day hangover will be the worst since records began, and it won't get any better when you sober up. That would work. My hangover was the worst since records began, which, considering I was 32 years old and started drinking somewhere in my late teens, meant records began about 14 years ago. Put another way, it was the worst hangover ever. "How much did I drink last night?" I said through furry teeth. "It doesn't matter," Debbie said, bouncing onto the bed with both knees. "We were celebrating. Isn't it wonderful?" "It matters to me," I thought, but said, "What's wonderful?" "Oh, you," she punched me on the arm. "You know, moving to Exmoor. We get the most beautiful little country cottage with some chickens in the back garden. And you can collect the eggs in the mornings and I'll cook them for your breakfast. It'll be such bliss." "Huh?" "I've got it all worked out. I'll quit my job as soon as we get back." "Huh?" "Which won't be a hardship. Oh, Simon, I've been so unhappy." I rummaged around inside my mind for some of the less sozzled brain cells, found half a dozen and strung them together as the basis of reasonable thought. Unfortunately, the mouth I had to project their ideas through was still a bit pissed. "Quit work and move down here?" I stammered. She bounced off the bed. "It all just came out last night," she said, folding clothes and tidying up the bedroom without looking back at me. I shouldn't have started talking about it. I don't know why I did, not on New Year's Eve, but once I started, I couldn't stop. She stopped folding and shrugged. "Now you know everything. You're not disappointed, are you?" I still didn't look around. I had the same feeling you get when you start watching a film halfway through. "Course not. No. Disappointed about what exactly?" "About me." I think I'd like to have sat up, but my head felt as though someone had concreted the space where my brain should be, and my mouth had that morning after a kebab sensation, even though I hadn't had one. So I stayed where I was, which was flat on the bed. "Don't be silly," I said. I could hear a stream running outside, and it reminded me that I hadn't been to the loo since I woke up, but didn't have the energy to move. I started piecing snippets together. "So you're unhappy at work?" Desperately. "You want to resign and give up your career? The world will probably survive with one less property solicitor," she said. "And you want to sell up and move down here to Exmoor? Right. You haven't changed your mind, have you?" "Changed my mind? Boy, the beer must be strong down here. No wonder everyone looks so red-faced. Easy. Had I really agreed to all this? I didn't want to leave London. I didn't want to leave my job. I liked my job. I liked my home. Why would I want to give it all up and live in a cottage and collect eggs?" The word that tattooed itself to the inside of my eyeballs, so I could see it no matter where I looked, was retirement. I had horrific visions of buying a bungalow on the flat, quite close to a parade of shops and a bus stop, chucking out all my Radiohead CDs and replacing them with compilations with chill in the title, drinking tea, smelling of tea, taking up golf and collecting bloody eggs. Why eggs? Don't they sell them in shops down here? Is there an egg shortage in the West Country that the rest of us don't know about? Haven't they heard of a supermarket? Who retires at 32 anyway? Career-wise, I was only just getting into my stride, like a finely tuned athlete,
opening up down the back straight of the first lap, all muscles pounding. Honed to perfection, athletic. As estate agents, we see ourselves differently from the way the rest of the world sees us. We are, in fact, the Donuses of the business world. Just few recognise it. One day there'll be an uprising, or better still, a strike. You think the country grinds to a halt when the underground and train drivers refuse to work. Imagine the chaos. Easy, it's alright, it's alright. If in place of a board outside every estate agent's office in every high street up and down the country was one of those bins in which you burned wooden pallets, and we'd all stand around it in our suits, with our gelled spiky hair, waving our Porsche mini keyrings in the air and yelling scab at passing solicitors, and we'd have Sarah Beanie as our spokesperson. They want the recognition they deserve, and until they get it, they're refusing to do any more accompanied viewings. I know. Could I really give all that up and move to the country? Try as I might, I couldn't imagine myself living anywhere but a major city centre. Which raised a problem: what to do about Debbie. I buried myself further under the quilt, which is as good a way as any of avoiding a scene, at least until I was a little more sober. I watched her walk out with her head down. Since when had communication between us dwindled so low that she didn't feel she could tell me she was unhappy, to the point that it all came flooding out on a New Year's Eve party? That's terrible. I wish I'd heard what she said. I could hardly admit that I hadn't caught a word of it, that her heart-to-heart had been drowned out by an OAP jazz singer and a bunch of whooping, ballroom dancing farmers. To make matters worse, now she got it out of her system, she hadn't wanted to go over it all again, which left me colouring in an awful lot of blank space.